I am on a mission to do acts of randomness, but it's all geared towards a specific purpose. And that purpose is to teach as many salespeople the importance of having a brand and how much that brand amplifies their sales and makes their sales efforts easy. And when that idea first came to me, it was influenced by the first guest that we're having here, because he's celebrating 20 years in the business. And I think he's the perfect example of someone who's been able to create a brand, establish a brand, and evolve the brand over time, over demographics, and has been able to make an impact for himself and create it as an entire business in multiple channels. And I'm bringing him here today because I think he's the best person to start this message off to salespeople and to professionals that the most important thing you need to build, even if you're not in sales, is a personal brand. So my guest is the incredible Sonny Bling. Welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
How you doing?
And I know you're gone. I know you're gone on just when, and I mean, something about mine said, Jared, I know you like to just be casual and dress the t-shirt, but you know Sonny come in proper. Sonny don't make joke with how he's dressed. And I was like, yep, so said, so done. But I'm very honored to have you here. And I think you are the perfect person, I think, to add so much value to our audience, because I think people need to understand how important a brand is.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for the recognition.
Yes.
It's appreciated. I've known you for a long time as well. So
Yeah.
we've seen each other through many times of our careers. You know?
Yeah.
And here we are. In terms of the dress code, though, I consider myself like maybe the best dressed entertainer in the country.
I would 100% agree.
So it's really kind of hard for you to assume that you were going to outdress me today. And
He had yellowed me once, you know.
oh, the yellow. Yes, I do.
Full HR.
I do have a yellow suit.
He
I do have a yellow
once.
suit.
He have a full yellow suit.
Full yellow suit.
So it's like, all right, no problem, fine.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Whatever. I don't want to go back to that will disrupt the whole conversation. So no. But here's what I want. Here's what I want to kick off with Sonny, because I think a lot of people, and by the way, Sonny or Karen?
Well, what makes you feel good, you know, to be quite
Nice.
honest, depending on what people call me, it tells me how long they know me. So
Good.
if I'm walking in the street, most times, hey, look, Sonny Bling. Or if I'm walking around, hey, Karen, then I'll spin around a little faster because maybe you know me before all the madness.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
For today's yellow purposes, you'll say, for yellow, you'll say Sonny.
All right.
You keep it there. So here's what I think we should start off with. I think you should give us a brief intro into your story, because I think a lot of people don't know, but I want to give the context to it,
All right.
so you know where to start. I would always remember seeing a picture of you in the newspapers with the foil and the chain done as a chain. And in my mind, I tell you, I'm being honest, I'm being like, who is this? Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And I was confused. So I think if anybody looks at that image now and then look at you now and look at everything that they've done, they're going to be like, that's one of the most incredible stories in terms of somebody who's been in the business. So I'd love for you to give like that story in that context.
All right. So I'm going to go back a little bit before the 20 years, because it's actually 20 years on radio, and entertainment would have started a few years before that, I think about 3 years or so.
Okay.
But we can really start a run from radio. That particular article that you were referring to came on before I started on radio. It was about a year before I was on Synergy TV at the time, and that was the very first report or article that was done on me in media.
Oh, wow.
And
Do you
this
have it
was-
framed?
I have the article at home, yes, I believe. And the reporter was, I think his C was Small, I think is her name, and it was in the Guardian newspaper. We went to the drag mall to just take the pictures for the article. So the folks on the drag, we're actually pretty good friends to this day, so I still pull up on Henry Street and bust a little line from time to time, and we also refer to some of these things. And these same businessmen are still very much around and alive and well, you know? So it's a nice full circle, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, that was the beaded chain and the cardboard pendant. That time you couldn't afford to go to the jewelry store. My jewelry store was actually Samaru's. I used to go and buy the gold beads. Like it was like $5 a yard or some kind of thing. So with the gold beads, and then I would buy like a bag of glitter dust for another $5 for like a 2-pound glitter dust. And then I would go and take like a paint pan cover or a piece of cardboard and cut out my pendant for my chain, cover that in some glue
Right.
and glitter dust. And I was in parties and all reporters playing rocking my big chain.
So how the name Sonny Bling came about then?
Okay, so that was also before radio. So what happened, I attended TTHC, I did culinary management, and I like to give everybody the flowers to it. So I remember almost everybody that was a part of my journey to some degree. And this guy, Chef Jason,
Right.
who, you know, him online as a bubbling chef, he was
Right.
actually in my class in culinary management at TTHGI. And he told me at the time, boy, why don't you want to audition for Yangathan Comedy Tent? No, I wasn't thinking about it at the time. Yes, I was a class clown and that kind of thing, but I didn't think about it, right? So he kind of pointed me in the direction of the comedy tent.
Right.
So I went to the tent because he told me I should and I have the talent. I was like, all right, fine. I did the audition and I ended up in the tent itself. And that's where I started working with deceased Spranger Lang, Beulah, you know what I mean, Chunky Ting, John Agitation, Tommy Joseph, Larry Joseph, you know.
You work with some legends,
You,
boy.
you name it, right? So whoever we would all consider to be our legends in comedy in TNT, I had the opportunity to be like one of the last students of the class, basically. So it kind of also would tell you why I'm still around this time now, because I came from a good start, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, I ended up on Synergy TV. And that was also because of Charles Marshall now, because I was
Right.
doing a comedy show that he was a part of and saw me there at the show, knowing me from partying times. And like, wait, you're in everything? I was like, no, I was actually on the stage doing a set. And he was like, that was you. So why don't you come on Friday Night Live and do your set on my show? So I did the set on his show, the invitation again. And then they called on him Monday after the Friday saying that, hey, Peter and the team of Synergy really like the vibe. If you would be interested in joining Synergy TV to be a
Oh,
part
wow.
of the team. Now, this is when it started, so you
Yeah,
had
yeah.
no money involved.
Synergy
and
never
stuff
had
like
money.
that. But my point is that it was a start, right? And a character that I had, because I was like a full-in on sets with different people.
Right.
So I remember Nikki Courtney had a show, and I used to be like a full-in on the show with her. And my name at the time was Renatius Claudius Sonny the Third. The third was because Bobble was a big summer at the time too.
Right.
So I was like Sonny the Third, right? So everybody would call me Sonny for short. Because nobody gonna remember the rest.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, Sonny for short, it's in the building, the Sonny. And because of TTHTI and the culinary side, the jewelry actually started in hotel school.
Oh.
So when we in the kitchen, we had a lot of foil. So I used to make chains and pendants out of foil before the summer rules play. So this one day I was in Synergy doing nothing. Box of foil was on the table. And I'd make a chain and band and ring and foil in my mouth and my grill. And this lady, Simone, who was working, I think with Ecstatic at the time, she walked out the office and she was like, yeah, Sonny, you're Bling today, boy. And I just think I held on to it from there.
So kudos to them.
So yeah, so as I say, I call them names. I could call everybody
Yeah,
name
yeah.
along the way, you know. So
And then,
yeah.
so that's how it originated. So, and you talk about where you are now, but let me ask this. Did you think that name was going to stay around as long as it did?
No, at the end of the day, remember you're shooting in the dark, you know. You just a youngster, like about maybe 19, 20 years old at the time, and you just trying, you know. Remember, you came out of school, you didn't have all 5 passes, so you have the parents who, you know, as an 80s child, the parents let you know without 5 passes, it wouldn't be anything great.
Nothing.
So I don't know what the hell you're doing, and then you're telling your parents, I don't want no 8 to 4 work, I think I want to be something creative.
And they're like, what?
And we didn't have
Are you-
Facebook and YouTube now, right? So then at that time, so my point
was
is,
a struggle.
telling your parents then you wanted to be creative before the advent of all the social media. Imagine how hard it would have been to convince
True.
people. So they put them out.
Let me ask, what?
We'll get to that later, but yeah.
Listen, let me ask this then. So are you like me? So like, for example, with my story, I picked you at what, 5 years old when I went into Rosary Boys, when they put me in Savio House.
Yeah, I
was
went to
like-
Rosary Boys too.
And yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm dumb. Because I think at 5 years old, you're like, oh, this is your favorite color. Like, I remember it. Do you remember, like, going back, like, when you think all those 20-something years ago, do you remember, like, the moment when a song, do you remember, like, any of your thoughts saying, oh, well, let's just go with this name. This is the name I'm going to pick without anything?
Yeah, after I told him, the lady walked out and she said Sonny and Bling, and I never
Went back.
said Sonny Bling. You know, that was like, that was literally it. And I don't know what happened and the name changed there, but that was it. Because remember, I was finding myself.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really a staple yet in any program, you know. So I was just still finding myself. So when the name came, I was like, okay, this is the name. You know what I mean? I just ran with it and it tied into the character because as I said, I was real big on jewelry, right? I
Right.
couldn't afford it, but I was big on it. Remember the OG unit? And
Yep.
50 cent at the time,
So
then
you
the
find
spinning
your way
chain.
to do it-
So
to
I
do
did
it.
a cardboard spinning chain. You know what I mean? I had a SB. I
Yes,
couldn't
that's
spin my
what,
chain.
yeah.
I was in Tsunami, Anchorage Base, Pier 1 with my glitter dust falling on people here trying back, you know. Yeah, I confident. You know what I mean? And then like for instance, the suits now, everything happens in its own time, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, I always wanted to wear suits too. So the suits I wore then was real trashy because I was wearing my father's suits from when he had in the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
Like, no doubt. I talking bell-bottom suits and thing I train on that smelling dusty and full of cupboard. Because I believe you're not supposed to wear a suit. And I was also inspired heavily by the Calypsonians too. So as I mentioned, Rosary Boys.
Yeah.
Walking downtown after school every day to go downtown Port of Spain, I remember seeing a lot of Calypsonians liming either like by Cold Salt Mall, New City Mall, You would see certain Calypsonians and they were
Correct.
always well dressed. That's something that stood out to me. So a man like the Mighty Duke. You would see Duke in a red suit today, a pink suit tomorrow, a purple suit the day after.
I would
A man
love to see his closet.
A man like Chum Dust used to be lining up on Abercrombie Street somewhere around there, and he always in a big shirt, a press pants and a square-tip shoe. And also, Calypsonians always had a certain style and class. Kitchener, that was a man that used to go all the time.
all the
Sparrow,
time.
suited. We can keep going. Lord Nelson.
Correct.
These men used to dress a certain way. And to me, I was very much inspired by that. Plus, I really like old school things.
So that is kind of the influence how we see present day Sonny now.
Correct. I consider like myself like a man in the 40s and the 50s. Remember, people were poor back in them days, but they used to actually dress with class.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it, but it was different then. And I can adopt that as in dressing the part is half the job done. And no matter who you are, sell yourself as best as you can every time, anytime. First impressions last year.
True. So let's segue into that, because I think that's the important part of why I reached out to you in the first place. Now, I have a personal fear of relevance. And I mean it in the sense of, because so much things are changing in the world, I am worried about relevancy, as in, would you not just having a job, as in, would you be relevant in terms of who you serve, your customers, etc. But for some reason, that hasn't happened to you. I looked at your career, and your career has just gone to next levels and next levels each and every time. And I'm not knocking anybody else, but if you look at any person who might be in media now, they don't have that same shine on them as you've had over the last 20 years. And I find that is a part that I'm curious, and that's what I want to tap into today, because I could honestly tell you I'm seeing it from a lot of people. Because I'll give you an example. Like one of the clients I was training, I remember the lady telling me after the training with how the world is changing. She was planning to retire because she's going into her 60s. And she was like, Jared, I was planning to take my foot off the gas. She's like, I can't. If I do it, I'll become irrelevant. And when she said it, I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. So my question to you is, how?
It's a trial and error thing. I don't think I have all the answers, but at the same time, I keep learning every single day. I keep myself in a space of learning because that's the only way you're going to maintain and keep up in the race, right? So as much as we get older, the brand new is behind us waiting to take over. And if it is you, as you said, take your foot off the gas, you're really going to be left behind, right? And I use a lot of analogies. So for instance, let's look at life as the highway.
Right.
No matter how fast you're going on the highway, they have somebody behind you flashing headlights to get out the damn way.
Correct.
So in a sense, you might think you're going at top speed, but you might actually be able to just go a little faster. You just don't want to go faster. You might think you reach the speed limit, and you just, So you just need to be careful now.
Yeah, but you're still ahead though. Like in my opinion, you're one of the top MCs, hosts, radio people, one of the most recognized faces in Trinidad to being on the Caribbean. So my thing is, what do you think you've been doing that has allowed you to just stay, not stay, but as I say, stay top of mind with everybody for all these years? Because I told you, that's what shocked me. When you said 20 years, I'm like, that is true. Like he's just, and again, let me draw my comparison to sales. I could show you some salespeople who've been in the industry for 20 years and they're skeletons of what they used to be before.
Yeah.
Like, there are very few ones who've been able to say, I've been in sales 20 years and I've been successful all 20 years. Like, I've just been going higher heights. So for me, that's what I'm trying to figure. Like, what do you think has been able to allow you to keep that relevance?
Coming from the highway again and bringing it back.
Right.
Although I said I was going at a certain speed and there are people behind you, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going anywhere, right? So you're actually going places.
Correct.
Yes, somebody else may be coming behind you. They may be driving a faster car, something totally different, and you can't compare yourself to somebody. Yes, the driving skills may be better than yours.
True.
So what I have done there, as I said, with the highway is really maintained. And a lot of people don't understand, to me, the importance of maintenance over achieving something or attaining something.
Right.
So we live in a time where to attain anything is easy. To me, the road to the top is paved. The road to the top long time wasn't paved. It was hard to reach, right?
Correct.
But the road to the top now is paved, right? And the space at the top, I say, is smaller. So I'll use a perfect example like Trinidad.
Right.
Trinidad in the past 5 to 8 years shot straight up the road. And they have done things that artists who've been working for the past 20 years could not have achieved within a 5-year span.
Correct.
However, in that same time, they're also irrelevant. Meaning that, Trinidad is still here, but it's no longer the top of mind genre in terms of the music. But they actually conquered the hill in a faster time. And we cannot deny that. They were all successful. They did big things. They traveled the world, men wearing diamonds. However, only few remain standing at the very top of that hill, and they all were able to run up.
So let's draw that business analogy. So with any business, there's always a peak of when everybody could benefit. And then eventually when things start to taper off, only the few ones who put the systems in place or as they say, maintain relevance is the ones who stay in the long term.
Right.
And I would say that even applies to soca artists. It even applies to the
Correct.
sales reps, because a sales rep may be popular because the company introduced a new product that you're just really good at selling. But after a while, when the product has become irrelevant to the market, they can't able to pivot and go to that new area and that new product. So eventually they also become irrelevant.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, you're saying it in the right sense. So I like that. So what would be your advice then for somebody in sales? Anybody, doesn't matter the industry, what do you recommend for persons to stay relevant?
You said one of the words earlier on, I says pivot and accountability, right?
Right.
You have to know when to pivot. That's
Right.
important, right? You have to know when to make a change. So for instance, rain doesn't just start falling on your home. You must see out your window, wow, the clouds look dark today.
Correct.
Which tells you that maybe there's a chance of rain. Which tells me that I should maybe pivot. And the clouds to me would also be a sense of accountability, meaning that you saw the clouds.
Correct.
If the rain started to fall and you did not pick up, you close up the line,
Or
you have
take
to hold
umbrella to
yourself
go the road.
accountable to say, I didn't know it was going to rain, but I did not make the step. So I think a lot of people are not accountable to themselves in the realest sense. So even in, like I said, the soca industry,
Right.
if you are not the most relevant artist, let's say you didn't make a hit song or two before in your career,
Correct.
but you are not the most relevant artist. You are not seen, and unseen is unheard. So you're not at events, you're not anywhere, but you're an artist, we know about you. But you're not the most relevant. You're not releasing new music, you're not a chart topper. What makes you think a promoter owes you a place on this stage?
Very true.
It's not soca is not a permanent employee job.
So would you say your relevance, again, and you're probably saying it, I'm probably saying it in the right way, because of like social media and all these other things which you are taking advantage of, has allowed you to keep that relevancy.
Correct.
Because it allows you to keep that pulse and see what people are reacting to and see how people are doing things.
Let me tell you something. Ages meet all of us here. You know
It
what?
does,
We
boy.
all have parents who would say, hey, come and show me how to brighten the screen on the phone. And you and I both know that's one of the easiest things we could do on the phone, right? But the elders believe that is technology and I don't need to learn that. That's what the young people think.
Yep.
And that is the attitude that I stepped over. The older I get, I know how important it is to look back at what the younger people are doing right now and be on top of what they are on top of. Because if we are not on top of what they are on top of, we become irrelevant. And that's the truth. So unseen is unheard. So if social media is the thing to go to, and I am at 40 years old, and I know 40 years old, like, boy, I'm not in my Instagram and a Facebook thing.
Madness.
If I was not about Instagram and Facebook, I would not be in the position I am now, because a big part of my relevance comes from my active use of social media. And a lot of
Correct.
big people in business refuse to step into it. And the position I'm in now, because of how active I've been on social media for the past 15 years or so, companies who are late to the step would come to me and say, yeah, we're ready to try this thing now, no. But they would come to me because they understand that I have been involved in it, one.
Yeah.
Two, I have the understanding in terms of relevance and reach to their brand. So at 40 years old, I'm a parent. So I pay bills when the month in which I actually carry children to school. So I am relatable to their brand and business. But then I am in a space that they are not, which is social media.
True.
And then the young people they may look towards in social media, who rank him on social media, as much as they are relevant, they are not relatable to their brands and products. So for instance, most of the superstars that we see on social media are under 30 years old. Chances are they may just move out or they're still living in their parents' homes. So as much as they may have a reach to get their awareness out of your brand, they may not be able to convert that awareness
They
into
don't
a
have
sale.
so I like to call them awarenessers. They're not influencers.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
difference.
Well, they give me name too, but I usually share that point with clients, meaning that I don't try to
can't
discredit
convert.
anyone. But if you want to convert, you call Sunny Bling.
Yeah.
If you really want awareness, you really want 100,000 people to see your brand in the morning, to see it, go with these people. For sure, they're the very best at what they do.
If you need 10,000 sales,
If you need some sales, you want the money, call my phone, because, you know, when I speak, it's not a case of I'm a guy. I speak because I have a daughter in tertiary. I have a son in secondary. I have a daughter in primary school. I have a son in preschool. You know what I mean? I pay bills when the month end reach. I live a real life like everybody else. So we are all relatable. So if I come and say, boy, I saved some money buying up some shoes in this place, it's not because I just buy shoes for myself. It's because I buy shoes for the household.
Correct.
And I really know how that would affect the budget at the end of the month. And I could relate to that. So that's the position I put myself in right now. But I can only be here if I because I study the younger ones.
so that, as you say, is the part of the secret, part of the strategy to the relevancy. It's never staying with what the original formula was.
Stay ahead of the curve.
It's seeing what new people are doing and adding it to your formula.
Correct. And it was amazing, as you mentioned, the 60-year-old earlier on who was willing to give up, right?
Yeah.
when I look at Bloomberg TV, right? Yes, I look at Bloomberg, a lot of Bloomberg TV. And
Bloomberg is a good learning channel.
right? And you see a man who's 85 years old, he's a CEO of a company, and he is saying to the reporter, like yourself, here we talking, he's like, I got a projection that in the next 20 years, our company is going to make another $100 billion. In 20 years, this man may be dead. But he's not seeing nothing. What he's seeing is he's alive and well now. He has an idea and he can invest in something that will grow. But you know the trend going here at 50, boy, I can't wait for retirement, boy. I fed up work. It's time for me to rock, man. I'm trying not to do the thing now. Where does attitude come from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do we actually create generational wealth if everybody has the same attitude? Work 8 to 4 and then go about, try it on the weekend and then grab your TOT and rock back at 60.
So I'm happy because I think for anybody who's listening, you're really explaining the concept of the relevancy. And again, I think it goes into how your brand is. Because if you're looking at it now, all you're doing is just, as I say, staying ahead of the curve as much as possible by paying attention to the pulse. So let's ask this for the brand then. How does that impact and influence your brand? Because I told you, as again, I'm writing a book and the first kickoff is talking about your personal brand. And again, you have an excellent personal brand. But something I always believe in, especially for me and what I do, I always tell people your brand is a filter and content is a filter. Like when people know who you are and what you do and what you stand for, it repels ones who don't like it and it attracts the right ones. But for some reason, your brand has been universal. It stretches across race, age, religion, it doesn't matter. So like, how have you been able to do that aspect now? Because I think that's the challenge where a lot of salespeople come in because salespeople, some of them sadly think my brand's supposed to be for everything. But like you've been able to create one that just works for everyone. How come?
For starters, I would say being my real self. So there's a saying that
yeah, but rare people don't know how to be themselves.
right. So there's a saying, you know, be your best self, or you can always be Batman. But the difference is that Batman done taken already. So the reality is that you need the next thing you can do is be yourself, right? And a lot of people don't understand the importance of being themselves. Yes, you can copycat things, as in, you know, replicate from different things, but it has to translate into your own way now. Just like comedy, you know what I mean? Comedy is we just translate things into we talking serious things, you know, but we translate it in a way that's palatable and it's humorous, but it's the truth, right? So I just translate my truth. I don't try to be anybody, you know. I am who I am. I've always been a class clown, kind of glad man, stupid man, smart man, you know, and I just translate that into real life where I get paid to be my real self. So that's why I actually enjoy doing what I do, because this is not me waking up like, oh gosh, boy, how to go in the office. No, I actually enjoy you're getting to be yourself. You're getting paid to be you, right?
So now you hit the nail on the head. That makes me happy because again, in what I do, I enjoy what I do. And I always laugh sometimes, like when my friends always say you're always working, and I'm like, no, but I love what I do though. It's not work.
Yeah, so what we don't accept is that we actually always working at. We are always working. We still love what you do. We call it love, but the truth is we are always working.
So then, in the course of building a brand, how do you avoid burnout then? Because like, do you stay, is Sonny Bling a character or is Sonny Bling 24/7, 365?
Oh, well, I got to the point where I master this thing, you know. I think it's like a kind of schizophrenic, kind of madman thing. I call all creators are like mad people, right?
True.
Because they'll be jumping up and down on the camera and then they're walking along the street very serious on a normal day. And people be like, why you not jumping up and down? Because we're supposed to jump up and down all the time? No. So I could turn this thing on and off, right? Like if I'm not speaking to you here right now, I think people wouldn't believe that, but I'm a very, very quiet individual. I really keep to myself. I don't really lime as much. I don't really go out as much. Yes, you may see social media stuff with me being out. And of course, that's part and parcel of the business that we do. And
Correct.
Of course, relevance, unseen is unheard. So I understand I have to be seen in certain places. But the truth is, less is more. So I may actually do a lot less things than people think, but the way it is seen, you think that I'm doing a lot. So I'll give you an example. If there's 100 events for Carnival, right?
Right.
Or let's say 400 events for Carnival. But out of the 400 events, we know we already have 10 top tier events for the season. That's the top 10 events that I'm going to attend. By attending the top 10 events for the Carnival season, right? Because remember, everybody eyes on Carnival in Trinidad, around the world, whatever, right? If you attend the top 10 events, which everybody loves, as opposed to everything else, the perception is going to be, way, boy, you went everything this season, boy. But it's not that you went everything, you went everything great, and you went everything that everybody looked at.
Correct.
Because the all 400 events, we don't know all 400, or people don't even see all 400 events, but they see the line, they might see the experience, they might see the Marshall Monday, they might see certain events, right? And if you attend those events, right, it's like, way, boy, you wasn't everything this season. So less is more sometimes, and people need to understand that.
So I think you might like this then. So one of the things I always talk about and explain to you, for what I understand, for me, when it comes to a personal brand, there's digital visibility and physical visibility. and both of them intertwine. So for me, I spend a lot of time in full bloom. Like a lot of people could tell you that, but I spend a lot of time in full bloom because one, I meet a lot of CEOs, a lot of executives there who see my content, that see me in person. And because they saw the digital brand, now they see the brand in person, it kind of brings the two together for them and that creates the opportunity.
Right.
Same thing like when I tell sales professionals, and this will be the comparison, not like fest, but like when the chambers have their networking events, when they're doing their budget debates and all these things, those are the events you want to go to because that visibility is what gets you in front of the customers. And again, you get to be everywhere without being everywhere. And I'm sure from those things, that's when people reach out to you for the opportunities.
Even as you rightfully said that, I don't go everywhere that I'm invited on. So I pick and choose some of the places that I will attend. And based on that same relevance, meaning that, of course, what do you get out of it as well? So when I hear certain events, as in top tier again events that you know even just been invited to, I make sure to one, dress the part and show up because I have been to many places, right? Many places where you look around the room and out of 37 radio stations in the country, I'm the only radio presenter at the event. That tells me something. You know what I mean? And I've also been to many places where I've stepped into the room and big boys, if you want to put it that way, you know, the eyebrows twist when you walk in and want to even walk up to you with you, you know, they have the audacity to say, what are you doing there? Because they're shocked to know that you were also at this event, right?
Yep.
But that is the importance of showing up, you know what I'm saying? That
I get that when I go to ICAT's event, the Chartered Accountants Association.
I actually hosted that event for them
Yeah.
2024 in Miami, actually.
Yeah, so when they did the Trinidad leg of it, like the first couple of times I attend, like everybody's like, how come you here present? I'm like, no, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's people talking about money.
Correct. So, for instance, there was this time when Vossi came in from Africa.
Yeah.
And that was the event that they had down there, the Hyatt or whatnot. That was like 300 US for a ticket. I bought my ticket and attended the event. And they were like, Bling, where you hosting? I was like, no, I came to learn something. And you know what's amazing about that? The only folk artists that attended that event was Teddyson John. Teddyson John came all the way from St. Lucia to attend this event. And my point is, again, relevance, unseen is unheard. We have big speakers coming from around the world to talk to us about sales, marketing, building your brands, right? And an opportunity for you to invest in yourself to grow, which is what I do miss on. And a soca artist from around the region could know it's important to come in for this. But I didn't see any other local artists who are trying to build their brand at this event.
So,
you know
so let me pause and say that as a lesson to all salespeople out there. You heard how much time Sonny talks about investing in yourself. And I think that goes directly to the brand that you're developing. A lot of you are trying to create a brand, but you don't want to spend any money on yourself. And trust me, I think you'll agree with this. Anytime I spend money on myself, I do it blindly because I know it's a 10x ROI instantly.
Correct.
Like minimum.
Let me look at my suits, right?
Right.
I don't play games with this. I mostly have like too many suits, right? Over the years.
Do a count. Like for me, it's sneakers. I did a count the other day and I had too much.
Do a figure.
More than 50?
A brand new car.
Yeah, but how much a suit does cost though? Because your
Let's
suit's
not talk
different.
about that. What I'm saying is that, now remember, we're also networking people, right? So not everything is across the counter, spend money, and not everything is free. So people believe, people have this perception, oh, he can just give you clothes for free. No, he doesn't. I pay my money. But in reality, this has been one of the best investments I have ever done for myself, right? We love sneakers, right?
Yeah.
You can't wear your Jordan sneakers everywhere you want to wear it to. I can wear a suit everywhere. Maybe without a tie, maybe with a scarf, maybe with a t-shirt underneath. My point is, this can fit anywhere. This is a damn good investment. But the same sneakers that might cost the suit price, you might look stupid in a function with your sneakers on. But here what you want to say, but you know how expensive the shoes is? That's not the point.
It doesn't match the function.
It doesn't match, right? So my point is, I make sure to invest in things that could translate. So if I'm here at a business meeting now, I can put on a good suit. I have a wedding to go to, I can put on a good suit. Chances are it might be the same suit, but it was just one good investment. You know what I mean? And people need to understand how important that is. And when I put on a suit, right, in terms of the investment,
right?
If I'm in a t-shirt like you are today, Sonny Bling.
You say that's so bad, boy?
No, it's not a bad thing. But I'll tell you how it makes it look bad.
Yeah.
When I'm in a t-shirt, Sonny Bling. When I'm in a suit, hey, Mr. Bling, how you doing?
True.
Every single time. That's the investment.
So if I'm I think this suit has become like how people know me for the yellow. I think people have identified you for the suit. So let's talk about that then. If somebody told you, Sonny, I'm trying to create a brand for myself, what advice would you give them? What would you tell them to say, start here, do this, pay attention to this? Like what would be your advice?
Look at yourself. Start by being your real self. Who are you? You need to know who you are. That's where your accountability comes in. And be real with yourself. Who are you? What do you like? Where you don't like? Where you like to wear? What actually looks good on you? I am not a gym person. I'm a very bony fella. So I consider myself a European style man, a European sexy swag. So guess what? You know what fits me well? A damn good suit. If I put on a t-shirt, you might realize the t-shirt a little baggy. So God, yeah, you know, biceps, boy, whatever. So I do not put myself in a position to be taken in a less serious piece. I put myself in a position to win every single time. And that's what you need to do for yourself. What makes you a winner? What makes you feel good? When I put on a suit, I feel real good. Just because I put on this suit to come here today, I had a breakfast at a restaurant for like $200-300 this morning. Just because I had on a suit, I felt rich. So I had to dine rich. And sometimes you need to treat yourself just like that. How you treat yourself is how people see you too. And also, life might be hard. I might be broken inside. I might be having the worst day possible, but you would never know that because
how you're. So, what about things like for me, like how color is a big part of the brand and a couple other things? What are the key things? So you tell a person to look at yourself, which I think goes in deep into self-awareness, which I think you have a lot higher than others. So, like, what else? Do you think color is important in parts of the role of building a brand, or that
would also boil down to yourself. So that's minor, meaning that you already have much people like yourself nowadays who actually enter a particular color every day and they love it, right?
Side note, I'd love to find, I don't know if she's still alive, Yoko Fong.
Yeah, I remember Yoko. And again, that's a brand. I remember Yoko. I told her put a skin, she riding a bicycle through town, the big eyebrows, she's a draw the bald head, channel, something going on. But she was different, right? So again, that's you creating yourself. And she, to the traditional person, TNT, you'll be like, what kind of man? One thing is that, but that was her identity and that was her being her best self. So much so, we can remember who this person is right now.
Correct.
So let's go back to just that. Figure out who you are first. Stop trying to be like everybody else. Stop trying to please everybody else. Now, you do have to conform. You must conform before you do what you want first.
Right.
So in essence, they say, oh, the billionaire in the sweatsuit has, people with degrees working for them in suits or whatever, right? But before you get to wear that sweatsuit, you might have had to wear a suit yourself. So that's where the conformity part comes in. So before you run a business, it's smart also to go and work in a business. So you know what to expect as an employer, what to expect as an employee, what to expect from employees, and then maybe go into a business. So I would say, curate your style over time. So the time that you're in.
Cool.
Understand exactly where you are now. So like me, I have tattoos, right?
Right.
But I knew before I had an excess amount of tattoos that you will actually see while I'm wearing a suit.
Right.
I knew that I could only have tattoos that you cannot see with a suit. Because I was not in a place to say, I'm an entertainer. I was in a place to say, maybe I need an 8 to 4. And in the 8 to 4 realm, tattoos are not welcome. So I had a tattoo on my neck. I had to put it under the collar because, boy, in case I get employed, they may not want to see that. But when I realized entertainment was picking up, I put the next one on my neck high up now. So you can see that one. I'm all on my hand that you can see now.
I'm gonna raise a side point to that just now because I wanted to give one more point. So I love the awareness and I love the other aspect. Give me one more tip for somebody on personal brand because I want to go back to that specific point.
One more tip on your personal brand?
If I'm building a personal brand.
If you're building your personal brand, you need to know your market. Know who you're targeting. Because you're building something to target somebody, right?
You're reading my mind.
So in essence, you wouldn't build a townhouse in an area that only have flat houses. Then be like, this is weird. What is doing here? You know what I mean? So you need to know who you're building for.
So let's get into that. So you spoke about how you have to say conform to the environment, right? You said that earlier.
Yeah.
So, but my thing is, I've never wanted to do that then. So like, I'll give you an example. I don't wear suits. I wear suits if I go to a networking event. When I train, I wear African kit.
Right. Okay, I've noticed that.
Right. So my thing is, I know, like, I honestly know there's some clients who have not had me because of that specific aspect. Because I honestly, I could to give you an example for last year, our company reached out to me. They said, Gerard, we got your name. We wanted to get some sales training done. And I said, hey, I happen to be finishing a training. I'm in the area I could pass. Full African kit. And I'm wearing one of my big chunky yellow shoes, a big Adidas I was wearing. And I remember when I walked in the office, the lady was like, okay. Like you saw like, hey, hi, but you saw the look at the face like, because they're thinking suit and tie. Then I met the other HR person and I saw that same look on their face and they were like, okay. And we have a conversation and it's going good. I'm trying to understand what they need sales-wise, providing some insight. You could see that they're appreciating the advice, but at the same time, you see the look on their face of, okay.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, because this is why I want to segue to, the CEO comes in and the CEO does this. And I just want to see what yellow you have on today. And we just had a talk and their whole expression changes. the whole expression drops
He
like,
feels into your mind.
there's like, he knows who you are. And I laugh like walking out of the meeting because I said, right, that deal is closed. Because
Right.
the whole vibe changed. So my thing is it really important to conform? Or is that still an asterisk just depending on the situation?
Okay.
Because again, I wear a suit to go to the corporate events. I wouldn't wear African kits.
Now, you need to not limit yourself, right? And
Right.
because of the world that we live in and everybody has so much opinion and everybody wants to do their own thing and everybody just being their own being, I think is where we blur in that line, right?
Okay.
And not everybody has the power to do what they want. Everybody wants to do what they want.
Right.
But the saying that I tell my children all the time is, before you do what you want to do, always do what you have to do first. I have no problem with my children doing what they want. So in essence, let's say you wake up in the morning and you want to play for the entire day, but you know what you have to do would be wash the wares and make up your bed, pass a broom.
Do your
If
homework.
you do that in 15 minutes, you could spend the next 23 hours and 45 minutes doing what you want. I couldn't be bothered, but you did what you had to do first, and then you can do what you want after. And when you start in the real world, you just come out of school, chances are you can't really do what you want to do first.
True.
You know what I mean? So my point is, there is a period of time where you have to do what you have to do first, and then you can do what you want. So, and also, you need to dress your wage. So, I believe in that, right? So I want to make big money. So I know wearing small money clothes. I want big money. Suits mean big money to me, but I want to wear big money so I can make
So
big money.
do you think this limits me?
It doesn't, because at the end of the day, you have already established a brand over the past few years and you did what you had to do first before you're doing what you want to do now. So in doing what you want to do now and being able to afford to do what you want to do now, you can dress how you want right now. So for me, I don't wear suits every single day. I wear suits when I want to wear a suit. You know what I'm saying? But the reality for me and a suit, for instance, would be where I want it to be. To be in the corporate space, jersey and pants already cut it.
Yeah.
So in essence, I had to conform to the space to break in the door, right? And also I like it. Because maybe being your best self.
Correct.
So suit was always a part of me. So being able to wear a suit to go to a function as opposed to wear it 8 to 4, Monday to Friday, 20 days a month, I don't want to do that.
Correct.
But to do it for a few hours, once a week, twice a week, or whether it works out, is fine by me, right? But it's also dressing the part. A client told me, this is something like this was a client I was working for.
Yeah.
And they said, you know, we wanted to hire you years before this. But the way you carried yourself then, you were not ready for us. They were ready for me. But I wasn't ready for them based on the way I was carrying myself.
The
No,
evolution of the-
I might have tell myself, and watch me, I had the talent then, They said it as well. We had the vibe, we were ready for it. But the way you carried yourself, then I didn't know that. Because as far as I'm concerned, I was carrying myself the best I could afford at that time. But the way you carried yourself then, you weren't ready for us then. But we were watching and we observed that full circle, and that's why you are here now. They didn't tell me before they hired me. They told me that on the day of the job, while I was there, as in making the full circle, why you're here now is because you have made certain changes in your life. So I did what I had to do
to get
to a certain point, and I did not even know I was doing that.
So let's end off with this then, because I think, and there's a major chunk which I think adds to everything. I believe, based on what you're describing there to me, a lot of that content had a role to play. In other words, because people saw you and were able to see you evolve over time, that helped amplify where the brand was going to. And then that created more opportunities and created a clear signal to people as to who I serve, how I serve, what my values are. Tell me what you think in terms of how important content is to you in terms of how you continue doing your brand and how you continue doing your business.
All right, a few things. One, Kanye West said once before that social media is free.
Right.
So the fact that there are people who would post once a month, once a week.
Actually, no, can we pause and say that? I hate sales professionals who post everything except what they do for a living. And then tell me it's struggling in sales. And I'm like, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see, the funny thing is this, right? So I would not use the word hate as a strong word, but at the same time, what I detest, despise with social media is that I see a lot of people who use social media to create problems, bacchanal drama. And I know that this is a tool that can get you paid, right? And you are there every day posting drama and bacchanal for free. Now that really turns me, I'm like, wow, oh, you have the time, the energy, the effort to edit, things, these things take time. And you have a free life. That's really taking me, I don't know, I'm confused by it. So my point is this, social media is free. And you can use social media to the best of your ability to share yourself and your skills. So I tell young people, schools, or even upcoming talents, right? Don't use your page to just post any and everything. But if you like music, but you're upcoming artist, nobody knows you. Why don't you post a video every day doing a cover of your favorite artist? If you like football, do a video of me, let me see a reason of football. So at least when I go to your page, I can say, this person looks like they're
Context.
interested in football. I can understand who you are, right? In 2018 or before that, or 2016, there was a write-up in Time magazine, I believe, that 100% of your employers look at your social media. This was in 2016, 10 years ago. 100% of your employers, future employers, look at your social media. If they did that 10 years ago, you best believe in 2026, it is a mandate to check out your social media before they hire you, right?
Well-
So you sell yourself
Yep.
as best as you can. Social media to me is a reality show that you get to curate.
I love, so that's why, so like for me, that's why I always tell people, that's why I'm on LinkedIn so much, because I know that's where the decision makers look.
Pause.
So this,
Don't put your pause in there. Now, you're on the LinkedIn boss, right?
Right.
And there are people who are really big on different platforms, right? And I will, in terms of curating brands, as you mentioned earlier on, people need to know where to put themselves. LinkedIn works for you.
correct.
Right? No, you may be on all platforms. However, you make the
LinkedIn
most
is the
traction.
biggest lead track,
from-
is the
from you,
biggest
right?
lead channel. Yeah.
And people need to understand as well. Some people believe you need to be on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, which you could if you can. But there might
It's
be one that
time-consuming.
works for you more than the rest. Not as time consuming, but you need to know what brings you the most traction to your brand and business.
Correct.
Is it Facebook and Instagram? For me, partner, hello, I do play with that. So on Instagram, I know there have a certain age group inside of there that really loves me. And then I have a really good pull with the 50 and over who actually love Facebook. You know, when you post on Facebook, your mommy go and say, oh, go and look my son in the comments, right?
Big up
So,
my dad who's repost some of my content.
you know, and
Facebook.
actually, you know what I like to be honest now? My parents are at the point where they started telling me about my social media content. So where was the other day when I run that nice suit boy? Because they seeing it. You know what I mean? They're online now.
So it
you know,
working.
but you also need to know who you're targeting. So let's use a humble example. Facebook. Facebook would still have the people who are 45 years and over
Right.
running these pages. But 45 years and over are the people who are still making the decisions in terms of signing off on your document when you send in a proposal.
Correct.
Instagram may have the person that is working underneath that CEO that spots you and says to the CEO, hey, I have the right person for the job. So they will now engage with you. But then the person that makes that final decision, in most cases, will be 65 or 70 or 60 years old. And chances are they know you from Facebook. So that's why when you have a big Instagram page or TikTok page and you realize a CEO doesn't necessarily know you, but the staff does it because the CEO on Facebook or he on LinkedIn. You know what I mean? And all you studying is Instagram. So you need to put yourself where you know your market is. So for me, as I said,
And
the
that helps
corporate
you grow
space
the
for
brand.
me, I wear my suits. Forget the suits, but I carry myself as a corporate entity more than a party being. And that is because I also put myself in the pool that is best suitable for me. And I'll tell you what I mean quickly. When I started entertainment, I was on radio. I'm still on radio. I did a lot of fests. I did a lot of parties. The passa the whole night. But in reality, if you are throwing a party tomorrow or a fete, like Carnival, for instance, I am not in most fests because I am not in the top 10 list of party DJs. But if you are having a sports day, an award ceremony, a concert, my name is going to call in the top 3. So
Yeah.
I have separated myself from that batch into another pool where I'm a bigger fish and makes business easier for me to come by. That's one. But using social media like Facebook and Instagram, for instance, and the same corporate brands, the companies follow some of these pages heavily, heavily.
Yep.
So by posting and using these pages, I know for sure the same business people like my parents' age or who are still very much involved in business on a high level, I say, hey, I've seen this young man and I like the way he carries himself. I like the type of jobs that he do. That's why I use social media. So if I do an event, I would say, I did something for the University of West Indies the other day. I am going to share that and say, thank you very much, Yui, for having me. And what does that do for me? If you're a client and we have 5 people to make a decision on the table, 3 of them may say, yes, we want Sunny Bling. 2 may say no. But then the 3 now would go to the meeting the following day and say, yo, I just saw him hosting the event for the ambassadors at the president's residence. I just saw him doing stuff for University of the West Indies. He has contracts with major companies. In essence, if these companies can work with this man,
Who's that?
there's no reason why we can't. And that is what social media does. Social media allows other people to see your catalog of work, what you do, and get an understanding of who you are.
And
they
what
also
the
say,
brand is, and if that brand reflects what they want in the
correct,
organization.
he's a daddy. I've had contracts with Samsung locally. Samsung called my phone the very first time and they said, Sonny Bling, we love the way you carry yourself. We can see our device in your hand. That was the call. And that was because the boy carried wearing suits. And I was like, okay. So because I carry myself, that's on.
Yep.
It is half the job done. Dressing the part is half the job done. So overall, I would say maintaining a brand is understanding the market that you're in, studying the market that you're in. I do not take it lightly. I scroll social media for hours on end every day or so, just looking at stuff. Not
Seeing
opposed
what
to it, but
happening, yeah.
seeing what's trending now. I might save our audio to use it later on, try and maybe convert something in my own. There are many videos I've never posted that I think maybe don't make sense. But it's understanding the market that you're in, finding information that you need to put you where you want to be. So if I'm involved in the corporate space, that means I need to read more stuff online, get more information about businesses, world news. Because if I sit with certain business leaders, for instance, I must be able to have a good conversation. I must be able to sit with a CEO, for instance, with sudden sales and say like, yo, with all that's happening in the economy right now, with the government around the world, the tariffs expansion, how does that impact you and your car business? What does that mean for the cars of the future? See, a lot of electric cars are happening. Is your company going to go around the electric car route? So many electric car companies are around us and we have traditional cars with gas. How does that affect business and brands? You know what I mean? So we can't have those conversations if we do not educate ourselves and put ourselves on the level to have those conversations. You know what I mean? And then how will it be taken seriously? You'll just be taken as, he's a party man alone. No, you're a party man too. You'll be in the office Monday to Friday. That don't mean you wouldn't be in TIC Fest on the Saturday. So my point is, we all are human beings. It's just understanding the level that you want to reach. Dress your wage. Unseen is unheard. Put yourself out there. And of course, keep reinventing the wheel. Last thing though.
Yeah.
As you said, why I didn't dip, there was something you mentioned at the very start. In 20 years, I understand that every 3 to 5 years, a company has to rebrand itself. So you realize the KFCs, whoever, they might do a new logo. They might redesign the entire building, right? Even look at Marshall.
Right.
Marshall needs to reinvent every year. 1 year is the marching band. 1 year is the this. 1 year is the that. That's a reinventing of the brand. You understand what I'm saying? So the same way other soca artists have to come with a brand new song every year, which they all did. He came with a new song and a new look. You know what I'm saying? So for me now, coming out of the pandemic, for instance, I knew we had to do a rebranding exercise coming out of the pandemic. Right now where we stand, it is 3 years since the pandemic, which is now another pause for another rebranding exercise. Because as far as I am concerned, the post-pandemic boom has just ended.
Yeah. No, you said at some point, because here's the reason why, like every year I had a theme of what the year was about. So like 2023, 2024, my theme was dominate.
Yeah.
And the theme behind that was there's enough on the market, but I'm going to be moving so quick you won't get a chance.
Right.
Then last year, my theme was Godzilla, which people got confused with, but I had to explain it was inspired by the Godzilla and Kong movie, where Godzilla saw something big coming and it just remember, it went to defeat enemies to get stronger. It's like, that's all I was doing, learning, understand what's happening in the market. So as for me, every year I use the theme as what the reinvention is, because I think it's to help people focus. So like this year, and this is why we're doing this today and talking about brand and irrelevance, is that the theme this year is visibility. I hate that I have to use a corny word. If you have to, like, I hate fluff words like visibility and pivot. You know, people just have those words as I went to dominate and Godzilla and stuff. But if you have a stronger word I can use, visibility, let me know. But the whole theme behind it was just like everything you spoke about. If people can't see you either in person or through your content and understand your values, understand what your brand is, you start becoming irrelevant. You stop becoming somebody who's aligned with what, and again, if you're not paying attention to where the market is going and you go in this way and the market is going that way, you start becoming irrelevant. So I think for me, that theme of visibility ties in with everything that's
I'll give
helping
you
us
4
here.
points, right?
Tell me.
I'll give you 4 quick points. 1, counseling is a serious thing, you know. So I've actually sat with professionals. I spend my 600 an hour, 900 an hour, which was the last I spent in December, just to have a conversation. Right? Not because I wanted, like, oh God, help my life and no, but I don't small talk.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't sit down in a bar and talk with brethren about certain issues and ideas. To me, it don't make sense because it just don't make sense. I would sit with a professional who's learn and understand what they're about, and I can learn something from that person. So in other words, I've signed up for a LinkedIn account, and I think I did some madness, but I am willing to spend my $750 with Jared to get the best page set up, because I'm not a big LinkedIn man, but I understand the importance of it. You've been knocking it in everybody's head for the past couple of years, and I was like, all right, I need to do it. So I actually opened the page, and I think I made some mistakes, but I know, you know what? I'm going to come to a man like Jared, spend my $750 and get it done. So I went to a professional as well. I was like, yo, during the pandemic, I went to this guy, and I spoke with him. I was like, you know what? This is how I am dealing with the pandemic. As in, these are the plans I have, the ideas, and we spoke. And when I gave myself a 3-year window, which ended in December, I went back to him at the end of the 3 years to say, this is what I have done in the past 3 years since we spoke about it, and this is where I am now. How do you think we're going? And that's the conversations I have. So that's 1. Speaking with the right people, as in speaking with somebody 10 times or 100 times better than you, is very important, right? Writing things down. I believe a lot in writing out your goals. As in, you don't know how you want to get it. It might make sense. You might write down 1 to 10, but you might write down 10, 12, or 10, 1,
That's
9.
a new tradition I have with my family. We write down all our goals segmented on different things: personal, finance, professional,
Correct.
business, education,
And it's
etc.
really supposed to be holding yourself accountable by that. That's where your accountability comes in. So when at the end of the month, if you give yourself a month and you do 8 out of 10, you need to write down those 2 things for the next month to start your list of 10. Because you're still trying to continue, right? So writing down things is important. The things that you absorb is also very important. I spend a lot of time on social, on YouTube, for instance, in the University of YouTube, listening to speakers. Anything that you want to do, somebody in this life either wrote a book about it or did a video about it already.
100,000%
So
agree.
instead of you doing it and getting frustrated, maybe just save yourself 5 years by actually looking at the video first. So anything that I think about, how do I become a better speaker, a better listener? How do I invest better? How do I whatever?
That means you
go
also
online.
use AI as well to have those conversations, or it's
No,
purely-
I don't believe too much in that whole. I'm not against AI, but I have not invested heavily in AI like everybody else because the real human being still exists, and the person that you could learn from still exists. You know what I mean? You could actually go and learn something from your real source as opposed to what AI has collected from all of these sources, and some to be wrong. You know what I mean? So my point is, yes, again, search.
Yeah.
The internet is there. Go and search.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And then last but not least, what you mentioned in terms of giving yourself something for the year, I also give myself that. I really not certain what I did for this year because I don't look at it anymore. Coming into this year, I didn't look at it as a New Year's resolution. You can start over every day. Start over every day. If you make yourself 1% better every day, you're going to be about 365% better at the end of the year. So you can start every day. But 2025, I gave myself one called peer pressure. P-E-A-R, peer pressure. Right? So it's prayer. One was prayer. I can't remember. It was two of them. Each letter is like 2 things.
Right.
So like prayer. One was exercise. The other one was acquiring of assets. And then R was like rest and restart. You know what I mean? So I think maybe patience or something. So it was like prayer and a little patience.
Right.
Or is it exercise and something else? And then acquiring of assets. And then, as I said, rest and restart,
Nice.
right?
I like that.
Because you need to put yourself again. And by doing these things, like what you rightfully said, I don't know if you have seen it, but by writing things down, by setting yourself on a plan, by holding yourself accountable, I have had better years every year, consistently. I walked out of the pandemic with $1.21 in my bank account. And I told myself, I have 3 years to get my act back together. And I'm still here, still relevant, still doing things. You know what I mean? So it happens to all of us. But what you do with it is all on you. If you are real with yourself, you're going to make real changes. If not, you just keep making excuses and sit wrong in the same spot. And really
become irrelevant.
That's right.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Continue changing the world, and I think everybody will agree with me. And I have this conversation with so many people. I always tell persons, I think you underestimate how much value a conversation has had. This is not the first conversation we've had, but I think every time we've always had a conversation, like I'm always messaging 2-3 people with some of the things you've said.
Yeah.
Because it sticks with me and it's so profound. So I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing. And yeah, I think you've added invaluable insight to persons who need to take the action, because I think you're one of the most inspiring persons in the market as a real life example of how you could do everything and anything in the world.
And I'm not perfect. I don't have all
Nobody
the
is.
answers. What I
Correct.
mean, as in I don't have all the answers. I do not know everything. There's still a lot of things I'm certain that I do wrong. But I hold myself accountable, and I am always learning, because the goal for me is to improve.
Correct.
You know what I mean? To be the best version of myself. So Wiz Khalifa had saying in one of his songs before, he said, always knew I was this good, but I never knew I would be this good. You know what I mean? So it starts with believing in yourself. You have to know you're great at something. And
Correct.
at 5 years old, when you found out yellow, at 5 years old, I remember one of my uncles in Laventry telling me, he said, see, you ought to be some superstar or some entertainer, boy. You have a talent, boy. Because I was the class, I was clown in the family, you know what I mean? I acted and I did all kind of madness. So people see it early.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then the last thing I'll say though is that class clowns are winning.
We are
We
winning.
are living in an era where the people you see trending the most on social media, the most interactive videos or whatever, these are the people that used to talk too much, disrupt the class, and the teachers that, you see, we don't know what will come out of you, but the reality is that we were the ones that was living outside of the box all the time. We were never in the box.
Never.
And the system does not know what to do with the individual that stands outside of the box. If you don't stand inside of the box, something wrong with you. And the ones who are standing outside of the box are the ones you are seeing relevant and trending
Look at
today.
us now.
Trust me on that.
No offense to every teacher who fight me down.
No offense. We got to keep it real. Look at now, everybody and their mother trying to be a clown on social media to push their brand. People who, are real serious people, uptight and whatever. All of a sudden, they know now they need to learn a new language, which is to be able to
casual.
relatable to the people. But that's who we have always been. We are the bilingual ones. We can talk to corporate, we can talk to the man on the street any given day. You just playing serious, man. You are backside from a long time. So you have what it takes to do this. You know what I mean? And they need people like us so they can point their fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
My brother, thank you so much. Awesome. Good. We're all done. Thank you.
I was real as I get. I really enjoyed this convo. I'm glad I didn't duck it. No, I was supposed to be on a plane this morning. I had a flight for 8 o'clock this morning.